like the bass to go.
Okay.
Hi.
Lish.
I like the bass to
When I get dressed, I get dressed. When I get tested, I bring that lead. Don't want heat stickers in your chest. Maybe you should speak less. Say my name, I bring that pain. You ain't what you claim, so walk away. I'd rather party anyway. I like that saying. Okay.
Peace party peeps, what's up? It's your girl Lish 2 times, and we are on Witnessed by Lish, and I got a special guest today for you to witness her greatness, okay? Aisha Hall is in the mother checking building.
What's up?
Okay, I'm so excited to have you here. You know, I first met Aisha when she and I were both booked to perform in Long Island at a street festival or something like that, and I knew the name Aisha Hall, but I never knew why I knew the name Aisha Hall. So not until that day, and you know, Rick the Villain, longtime friend, I used to, when I back in my video girl era, I used to come out to Long Island to the big mansion parties when Craze was shooting videos, and then, you know, I started learning more about you over the last couple years, and then in the last year, you've been really popping up outside.
Yes, because I haven't really been outside like that because I was on probation. I was limited. I couldn't really travel. I wasn't technically supposed to be around a lot of other felons. I had gotten violated for that, so I was like,
we're going to get into that,
yeah.
Okay? Like, because that violation was crazy. So what happens if you, on your terms of release, like, did you get out of jail early, or was it just, no, when I got released, I was on probation just because?
Yeah, so the feds, you have to do all of your time. You do like 87% of your time plus halfway house. So
you have to go to a halfway house even if you have a place to stay?
No, you would have to stay just and do the rest of your bid. You would do your full bid, you know.
Oh.
So, yeah.
So you did the last bit of your bid in the halfway house?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess that's kind of a gift, you know?
Kind of, but it's just like jail. I mean, you know, you get to go and work or whatever, but working is jail to me too. So
yeah, it is, girl. I'm not gonna lie. Working is ghetto. You see where we at in the middle of the day.
Yes.
That day job life, you know, and I went to school and I got 2 degrees, and I was just like, you know, I like jobs for like a year. I'm a good employee for like a year. And then after that, I'm like, oh, so ghetto. Oh my God, I can't fly to go there. I have to ask for the permission is what gets me.
Yes.
So I know
in prison, like you can't make a move. You can't do anything really without, you know, permission of some so-called authoritative figure. The only authoritative figure for me is me. So
period.
It's like, you know, that's not gonna.
I always said to people, like, I'm a fan of being a housewife because the only man I want to answer to is my man. Okay. Period.
Right.
So since we started on that, that's not where I was going to start with you, but since we went there, you were on probation for how long?
I was on probation. It was supposed to be for 3 years, but it ended up being 5 years.
Because of the violation?
Because of the violation.
Okay, so for those of the people who don't know, let's briefly tell them why you was locked up and they let you out.
I know. So I was locked up. I'll give you the USA Today fast version.
Yes.
But I was locked up because I ran a company that basically made people look like they were worth more than what they really were. So if they were worth 100,000, I made them look like they were worth 100 million. And then they would be able to go and trade, you know, different commodities based on that so-called net worth, you know. And they paid me to make them look a certain way. So $1 million, $2 million, $500,000, $300,000. I made a lot of money in a very short time. But the paperwork was falsified. And
I wish I knew you when I was a teenager. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, so that's how that went.
Yeah, so I feel like, you know, because, you know, the feds do not play about money crimes.
Right.
I almost feel like you would have been better off selling drugs the way they handled you.
No. So
because back when you went to jail, if you were selling weed, you know what I'm saying? Like
weed, yeah, but like it depends because that's where I really found my purpose, right?
Okay.
Because I was like the jailhouse lawyer. So I did a lot of legal work for the girls. And during that legal work,
is that how you like made money in jail?
Well, no.
Like did you get
I
like
made my money?
Stamps and because I
did my legal work on the strength.
Okay.
But it was the research where I learned how many people were doing life and doing 20, 30, 50, you know, for drugs. nonviolent offenses. That's where I really learned, like, damn, like,
the law is crazy.
This is crazy. This is really crazy. I didn't realize, especially men, like how many people were doing life for drugs. It's unbelievable.
It's insane.
It's insane. So I was like, wow. But most people wouldn't really know that unless it's a direct family member, or, you know, you were, for whatever reason, involved in
They just throw your life away.
Just throw it away. So
or your first offense, even?
Yeah, it just goes by the guidelines, and if it's a conspiracy and where you are in the conspiracy. And, you know, with the feds, you don't need evidence. You just need witness testimony. So if I got a vendetta against you, or I want to get out of jail, you know, I could say anything, you know, and they consider that evidence.
And for those of you who do not know, the only reason why, well, I'm not going to say the only reason, but I believe the only reason why, you know, Aisha was incarcerated is because she got somebody who testified against her or wore a wire or pretty much set her up, you know, and, you know, that goes back to, like, I've done conversations about the whole, you know, not snitching thing. You remember the whole 6ix9ine thing, like how hard some of the industry went on, like, not rocking with him because he's a snitch, and how, like, it was divided. It was a really divisive time.
Yeah, that for me just is like, there's no like making excuses for snitching.
I
if
do
you
agree with
accept that lifestyle, like, you want to jump in that lifestyle.
Exactly.
You know, now if you're just a regular,
civilian.
You know what I'm saying? Then that's different. But if you're in that lifestyle, it's like, you know, I think it's the worst possible thing you can
ever do.
Yeah, like, for example, with my case, right? So we had, like, falsified documents, whatever, different things, right? I'm not gonna get in trouble and then start pointing the fingers at,
oh, he did it too, yeah. This one to get less time. I think it's like, you already caught.
But I'm gonna tell you something.
Why
I'm gonna tell you some real shit. I was locked up with a girl who was telling on her baby father, and they offered her a deal, and she got sentenced. And we thought she was going home. When she came in, you know, the judge gave her 20 years. This particular judge did not like snitches. This judge said, you did not take and actually, because the judge doesn't have to accept the plea. That's just something that usually they go along with the government or the prosecutor. This particular judge did not like that. He said, I don't like the fact that you're just putting everything on him. And actually, so that's the first
it's different
time I
if
ever
he's
saw
saying
that.
Like, yo, this my baby mom, she gotta be out to raise my kids. Listen, like, I'm gonna take everything, just let her go. It's different when that's the dialogue, right? But to just kind of pretty much be like, all him, I'm gonna be out with the next Negro, thinking something sweet, and you benefited from whatever was going on. I think that's horrible.
It's horrible.
And I speak also from a person who, like, I've never, like, committed any crimes outside of assault. And you know what I'm saying? We're not gonna act like, you know, but I've never committed any real crimes ever in my life. I've never been, you know, arrested before or anything. However, I have been in a house when the feds kicked the door in, and my uncle and my fiance at the time, who was K. Slay's business partner, you know, there was so many things going on. I never forgot. I came back to just visit him and to get his laptop and certain things that they had confiscated, and they served me with papers to appear on the stand because, you know, we drove from New York to Virginia, and they're saying you transported drugs to get to Virginia. Why were you in Virginia? And I was like, because my uncle's girlfriend lived here and he was in New York, and then we're leaving tomorrow to go see my mom in North Carolina. Like, do I need a reason to go see her too? Like, that was this, you know, that's what it is. But they're like, oh, wait, your fiance. And then I started referring to like, no, my husband. Because I thought, like, they couldn't make you, you know, take the stand against, like, your partner. But apparently, I don't know. The laws changed. I don't really know. But they made me take the stand. And I, as a civilian, stayed 10 toes. That man could have ended up with, you know, a good 10 to 15, just off of, like, one little hint towards something. Playing the dumb blonde, like, you know what I'm saying? I think he did 2 years because he drove from New York to Virginia, pretty much, and was in the apartment when it happened.
It's interstate. They have all kinds of things.
And they found him in the bathroom, so they feel like he was flushing stuff. And I don't know if that was or was not true. You know, I was in a room with my I call him my nephew, but he's really my cousin at the time. And when they came in, I was like holding him because I was like, actually, I was happy it was the feds. Because the way my uncle was moving messy in that apartment, I thought it was the Juke Boys. I thought I was about to die because he was too loosey-goosey with his, no shade, but with his, hate to say, the white trash girlfriend with all kind of traffic in and out the apartment. And it was like, y'all actually got hot because, you know, your neighbors had a noise complaint. And then it started, you know, y'all had an undercover.
From one extreme to the
It went, y'all had an undercover in and out your apartment. Somebody you started getting comfortable with. They came in, they went right to where the drugs was. They knew where the drugs, the money, and the guns were. You as a felon were not supposed to even be around guns. My ex-boyfriend, ex-fiance at the time, also I come to find out had a felony under his belt. So being in that house where there was, like, he could have been finished. And I always felt like, as a person who has never been involved in any street stuff, if I can't, and they threatened me, like, you know, if you're caught lying on a stand, like Little Kim, you can also be arrested for that. You're lucky that we didn't take you in that day. Like, they use all kind of scare tactics. And for me, as a person who's never been in trouble, to go through that, I'm like, yo, Aisha, I commend you because you had a whole team.
It was crazy.
I was looking at your interviews and I was like, oh my God.
It's crazy, but you know, when I was being sentenced, you get to speak. So my judge asked me, do you have anything you want to say? And I said, yes. Whatever time you was going to give my co-defendants, give it to me. You know, so I'm the opposite of telling. I'm trying to take.
Right, because you
know
feel like
I'm the boss. I'm the leader. I was running this situation.
The boss at like 23.
Yeah. I was running this situation, and these is my guys. They put their neck on the line. They believed in me. They trusted in me, and it didn't go right. You know, rather than me point the finger, I'm like,
absorbed.
And the judge said, although that is admirable, I cannot do that. But he acknowledged, because that's not even something you see the big homies do. This is not something you see the OGs do. Everybody's looking out for self. But when you moving as a unit, you know, and you want to be the captain of the ship, I benefited. I made the most money. So if the shit goes left, I take the most blame. And I was okay with that. But, you know, it's just, I come from a different cloth.
So let me ask you, like, what was your family like during that time period? Because one of the things I noticed that you said in your interview is that you acquired, like, damn near a whole neighborhood in Detroit that was yours. But there was nobody to pay the taxes on those properties while you were locked up. And that almost bothered me because it's like, usually it's like, damn, this is why it can't be just one big homie. It can't be just one person in the crew. But in your case, the whole crew got locked up.
Everybody got locked up. There was nobody there.
So there was nobody with a big bag that could have held it down for you. No. However, I always wondered, like, then what's up with the family? Like, there was never no duffel bag nowhere. There was nobody who had anything that could have at least maintained anything
Not
for
in the
you?
bracket that I was on. I'm talking about 75 properties. If maybe one or two, you know, like there was a few properties there, here and there, but I couldn't ask my family to take on that kind of responsibility. You talking about 75 houses, warehouses.
But I mean, like,
it was they couldn't afford it.
But it never sits well with me when people go to jail on top, damn near rich, and come home to nothing. That never sits well with me. I always feel like there's gotta be, like, unless I come out, my parents are dead, like my siblings, like, you know, I always feel like, damn, like, what was not going right to where they couldn't have two houses, one of those houses ready for you in the event that you came home. It's yours.
I mean, it's a 10-year sentence, so it's like most of those properties that I acquired some of them had 7, 10, 15,000 in taxes. You times that by, even if it was 30 of the houses, I mean, they just didn't have that kind of money.
Right.
And I didn't have a run long enough to be able to have given them that kind of money. The people closest to me, my father was deported. You know, my mother had heart failure, and then I had my grandparents who were older, and then my siblings who are all younger than me. I didn't have anybody else that I could, you know, ask to take on that type of responsibility.
Where's your father from?
Jamaica.
Okay.
Yeah, my father's from Jamaica. So while I was in prison, my father was murdered. So.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Okay.
Okay.
But my father, like, would have, of course, tried to help me, but he wasn't. He was, you know, he was deported. He lived in America most of his life, so when he was trying to figure out life on his own in Jamaica, you know.
Yeah.
Having been here so long.
So he was deported while you were incarcerated.
He was deported before I was incarcerated.
Okay.
Right before.
Wow. I hear Jamaica is no joke. They say you go to Jamaica as a tourist, you better have an armed guard with you when you want to roam around. Is that
That's
true?
not true.
Because they say, like, you know, they
That's
smell
not
a Yankee a mile away and they think Yankee
I mean,
mean
that
money.
part is true, but Jamaican people are like any other group of black
Okay.
people, loving, you know, like I remember we was in Jamaica and I got a flat tire. We probably got stopped by, like, I would say probably about 20 different people stopped to fix. You riding in the street here and get a flat. How many
Mind
people
your
stopping?
business. They all minding their
Nobody
business. They mad you holding up
Nobody
traffic.
stopping.
Okay.
Nobody stopping. So,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I like that. What was your relationship like with your parents growing up? Like, what
Very
was the
close.
family dynamic? Was your parents still together?
My parents were not together. My dad ended up getting deported, obviously. But my parents had 5 children together.
Okay.
They were teenage, you know,
Lovers.
teenage lovers, whatever. They got married very young. My father was like real heavy in the street.
Okay. That's why you so gangster. That's why you 10 toes, period.
Yeah, my dad definitely instilled some real strong principles in me.
Okay.
You know, we did a lot of things together. He was an artist. You know, he worked real heavy side by side with Public Enemy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I got into music, you know. 'cause
Okay.
My dad was an artist. So he taught me a lot. And he was he was in the street. He was a hustler. So I learned how to hustle from him. I learned a lot from my dad.
You
a
learned the
lot.
white collar hustle.
A lot.
Okay.
Actually, he was in the street. But, you know, I really was into like school. You know, I ran track. I went to college on a track and field scholarship.
I believe
I was
it.
heavy into like, you know, being an athlete, trying to be a businesswoman. But then I had the hustle from him. So I mixed the two, you know.
I still see
was
that in
corporate
you
thugging.
today, though. I see that in you today. Like, I feel like you're a serial entrepreneur. You know, like being, like, one of the things that stuck with me when I first met you was that you said, it's all marketing. You say, I sit on my computer all day, and as an artist, I do my own marketing. So she goes, it's sales. And that stuck with me because 3-4 publicists later, I'm that person now. And, you know, I got to give you your flowers while you're here because, like, that really inspired me. That's why, like, when I see you out and stuff like that, I always want to make it known. Like, I see you. I'm not one of those girls
Yes,
that
you always do.
Like I see. I'm not one of those girls like, oh, she got to come say hi to me because that's what everybody's like. I'll be like,
It's
no,
all love. Whoever gets over to the spot
first, yeah, but I'd be like, I got to because that stuck with me, and I think that a lot of artists, you know, entertainers in general do not realize how much of a business and how much entrepreneurship really goes into what we do. And we live in an age where we cannot be one dimensional. We have to be multifaceted.
Yeah, I mean,
which you are.
Yes, that's how I survive, you know. You can get a job, you know, and obviously have some level of security of knowing you're going to make some kind of money from whatever institution you work for. But I don't have any job other than the jobs that I get hired out, you know, myself. And, you know, I survive off of my music. I survive off of, you know, doing financial literacy for people, teaching them about credit or helping them understand money. You know, I just charge for my
We know
experience.
you the money expert, period. I got a lot of questions and conversations for you off camera, okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ask up. Ask up.
Okay, I sure will. Even if I gotta tell you afterwards, because sis, I needs to know. Okay, call me Joe. So back to your family relationship dynamics. Were you really close with your father? Like, did you ever get a chance to see him be like the man of the house? Did you ever get to see him?
Yes.
Because to have 5 children with the same woman, like even like in the modern era, like I don't really know how old you are, but I kind of feel like nowadays everybody has baby mamas all over the place.
Oh, he still got baby mamas.
Oh,
but-
no.
He still got baby mamas.
Okay.
We ain't gonna
Did any of them overlap? Did any of them
clean them up that much?
Okay, did any of them overlap with you and your siblings?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Oh, so your mom tolerated some things.
Yeah, she went through some things, but I mean, they
Okay.
were teenagers when they got together. So,
Yeah.
and I personally, and this is, people might think it's controversial,
Uh-huh.
but I think every man needs their whole face.
You think so?
I think so.
I disagree.
I think so because I think that they have to learn through experience. Otherwise, if they don't go through that phase before they take on a wife, then they're gonna go through it with the wife. So
So this is what I've had a conversation with someone, and they say like they believe that that men and women should get married younger, because what happens is you tell them go sow their royal oats, but then when they become a grown adult man, 40 years old, set in their way, then you tell them they should settle down and have to commit to one person, something that they've never experienced before. They never learned commitment. You know, it's better, I think, to, you know how some people say, I'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission. I feel like I'd rather fail while trying to do something. Like, so I'd rather say, I'm married to someone, and if he, for whatever reason, stepped out and he did whatever he did, so he made a mistake. Maybe he made several. Maybe he had a good run of just living his life no one knows about. But then the reality is, what is the cost and the consequences of that? He needs to understand what is the value of the woman, of having a wife, and then what do you have to lose? Otherwise, I feel like we're in a generation where men don't feel like there's any value to having a wife. Because vagina is so easy these days. You know, like, I personally, like, I don't believe in 50-50, but I do know that there's so many types of men, you know, groups of people who think differently with male-female relationships. Now I feel like men want to know what a woman has. Like, oh, she got a car, she got her own crib, well, she live in a doorman building. He like damn near packing his bags, ready to move in with her, and be like, shoot, she be happy to have half of this rent. I know this hard.
Well, it just depends on a woman's taste and what you think that a man is. Like, my idea of a man, like, I deal with men. Like, you are going to be a man, not just...
What does that sound like to you, though? What is being a man to you?
Well, the first thing is being, you know, mentally stable and sound.
Okay.
You know, spiritually grounded. You know, you're not just on the surface.
Okay.
You know, and you understand, like, what your role is in society. You understand that you have to be a leader. You understand, like, you know, you have goals. You're actually working on those goals. So, like, what you said isn't wrong, but I just think that it's another way, right? Because I think that, you know, men, you should not be taking on a wife if you cannot provide for the family.
That's
and
a
if
fact.
you're that young, then you haven't had a chance maybe to find your craft or find your income yet.
True.
So if you're taking on a wife at 22 and 23, you know, it can be overwhelming because you haven't found your way yet. So that's why I think that they need time to kind of figure out what they want, what type of woman they like. You get with somebody so young, and especially if a girl is young too, you know, as women, we don't even know who we are very young. We change a lot. You know, we get older, we get mature. And I think that you need experience to know what you like. You know, I look at it almost like a job. Like, there's careers that people say, oh, you could do that and make that much money. I never heard of it. Well, you haven't had enough time and enough experience in the world to run into people to know how things work yet. So that's just my opinion. You know, like the guy that I, you know, have been with, got quite a few baby mamas, had his whore phase. But when he got with me, it was like, I see no one else. I want no one else. It's like that. All of that has passed. I don't think, if you don't give a guy a chance to have that, I think that, because I don't want you sitting next to me being faithful and loyal, but secretly desiring other things. But you're just going by what people have expected of you. Let that really be what you want.
But desire, you cannot ever take away desire. It's the action. Like, you know, I'm going to bring Islam into it. It's like, you know, we're always judged on, like, if you say you're going to do something that's bad, or I may say, like, I want to sleep with the producers of my show, but I don't act on it, I even get a good deed for that, because you can't take away a person's desire. You know, every man probably desires Cardi, Nicki, Beyonce, like, you know what I mean? Like how our generation...
But that's kind of fantasy.
But it could be fantasy. It could be desire. It could be an infatuation with a girl at your job. It can be the guy at the bodega. It can be anyone. Desires are natural, you know, especially when you become comfortable and no longer have to chase who you're with. So I think that desire is natural. I think having self-control and building up your will to stand 10 toes in another area than just the streets is where I say, yeah, you're a man, because you're not selfish. You're not going to act on desire because of your own personal needs of the royal oats.
I mean, yeah, I agree. Like I said, like, I'm a person that believes in duality, right? Meaning that there's more than one way of a correct way of being.
Yeah.
And you only have a couple of spins of this earth before it's over. And I don't think that anybody really has the right to tell anybody else how to live. If you have the natural desire to want a wife and have a wife and be a certain way, then you find your person. If you have the desire to, date for the rest of your life, that's your choice, because once it's over, it's over. I had a conversation with someone whose father was a very serious dope fiend, and he said, I admire that person because even though it was messed up, he went out because of that, but he lived the life he wanted to live. And that's one thing that I think that, cultures, religions, different things, we try to structure how people are supposed to live. But I think that naturally you have the right to live the life you want. Now, whatever consequences come from that, you have to be able to deal with that as well. But, if you have the desire to live a certain way, it's your life. And I don't think that anybody should be able to dictate how you live it. Now, what works better for the whole, we can start bringing in those factors and different things. But I definitely, after being in prison, my perspective changed a lot.
Drastically.
A lot. And I saw a lot of people doing time because they had a certain desire. Oh, sorry, it's a jail call. They had a certain desire. And the desire was more about, it was more about morals. Like, for example, I was locked up with some girls who, were selling themselves, or some guys who, ran like brothel type situations. But this is not like sex trafficking. This is what I want to do. So that's why in certain states now, certain things are legal. It's your body, it's your money. I just think that there's a little bit too much control over how people want to live their lives.
Right.
If you're not a child and you're not under a certain age, you have the right to live the life you want to live.
Exactly. So with that being said, then, do you believe in 50-50 relationships? Would you go 50-50 with a guy? Or do you believe that a guy who goes 50-50 is baking soda?
Well, I will say this. For me personally, I don't like 50-50.
Okay.
That's just me. But I don't like 50-50 now. But when I was married before and divorced. When I was with my first husband, we were high school sweethearts. I absolutely went 50-50.
With no children.
It was unrealistic for me to ask for him with his, first real job of, to ask him to pay all the, that's not realistic.
Right.
But now older, me choosing someone, it's going to be someone who can carry everything because I have a certain lifestyle. But I think it all depends on where you are, what your goals are, and the type of person that you choose to be with.
Right.
Some people are unrealistic. You can't ask a guy that works at Sears to pay all the bills. It's not really
possible. Like you chose that man.
Right. So you need to be looking for an entrepreneur. You need to be looking for somebody who can afford the lifestyle that's going to cover everything.
I also feel like people think when you say I don't want no 50-50 man doesn't mean that you want to drive the Lexus truck, the Benz truck. I tell people living a life where your man can maintain you means if he can only afford to get you a Toyota Camry to drive around in, you be happy with that Toyota Camry, or you go work and get yourself the Lexus.
That's what I'm saying.
So that's what I feel like. But my thing is he still has to be able to provide something. Meaning, like, we may only be able to afford a 2-bedroom co-op. But if I say I want the white house, the big house with the picket fence, then guess what, sis? Help him get that. Now, I don't believe in building a man because I feel like 9 times out of 10, you build a man for another woman. I am the result of that. But, but I don't want to get in trouble by saying that. But I do believe that saying I don't want to go 50-50 does not mean I want birth. The city girl mentality is what got these girls messed up. It's thinking that means he's buying you bags and taking you on exotic vacations all the time. And you're just living in this fantasy world with 40-inch bundles all sponsored by him. It doesn't mean that. Protect and provide at whatever level in which he is currently at. And if you understand where he's at, then you either accept him for who he is, the level which he is in, and if you know that his mentality is not to get you better, then he's not the man for you. Or go in on him. Go in with him. I personally wouldn't do it either, just like you. But I always wondered, like, for women who don't go 50-50, like, where is it that you date? How do you go, like, what's your vetting process like?
Right. I mean, I think that you have to also, you can't take time out of the equation. Like, like when I bought my first house, I can't compare it now. If I'm not spending $1 million, I'm not getting the type of house that I want right now. I mean, they got trash for $1 million, 800,000, 1.5.
Yeah.
It's like trash, right? So what we expect, like, we cannot take out the small factors. Like, some things are not realistic. They're just not. Like, it's all over the news about the economy and how, AI is replacing all of these different things. You before we start creating certain standards, we have to take into account what's happening in the world and be realistic. So me personally, if a guy has a 9 to 5, I'm not interested. That's just me. I'm interested in an entrepreneur who's either going to be able to partner with me or is building up a situation. And I also don't like when a man has to answer to other men. If you want to take me somewhere or do something, it needs to be your decision.
Right.
If we got to go through different levels to do things. That's just not for me. But I've also been a boss before. So I'm looking for my type. Now, that's not for everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not and the life of an entrepreneur is not easy.
It's not.
Can you handle the lows? I don't care if it's Walmart or Amazon. They all have dips. They all be in the red sometimes. Can you handle that? So people are not always realistic. They don't really understand how things work. So some of these people and their requirements, it's kind of like laughable,
What if a guy has a high yielding 9 to 5, but he's investing in himself as an entrepreneur? Because you kind of answered that by saying, I don't like men who got to answer to other men.
No, that's just me personally. I'm just, the biggest price that I pay for as an entrepreneur is the ups and downs, but the biggest benefit is the freedom. I'm an entrepreneur because of the freedom.
Right.
No other reason other than the freedom. It's not even about the money. It's the freedom. I go where I want. Somebody book me. Are you available? Am I available? Not you have to be available.
Yes.
You're asking me, am I available?
Yes.
I'm in control of all my hours throughout the day.
Yes.
If I feel like I'm going to take a day of sleep today, I don't have to ask anybody. And I need my man to be in that same capacity.
Yes.
So that's why I feel that way.
So you believe in being evenly yoked?
Yes.
Do you believe in being evenly yoked, like financially too? Like a man should make as much as you or more?
As an entrepreneur, that question is up and down. Because you might have a good year on year 1, and then on year 3, you might have a bad year. You might have had to lay off your staff. I don't know. So that question is in the gray area.
Mm-hmm.
I
like your answers.
I want you to have a good.
When's your birthday?
It just passed, April 26th.
That is so interesting. You're a Taurus like my dad, but he's a May Taurus. And you actually, I feel like you and Barry Blake need to sit down because, my father's been in finance for a long time too. And I almost resent him sometimes because I feel like, he didn't teach me, financial literacy the way I feel like he could have. He understands the real estate market, finances, all of that. And I'm seeing so much of that in you. And I'm seeing so much of like that bull in you, like that go-getter.
It's bad.
No, it's so good. It's so good. So inspiring. And I think that, one of the things that a lot of women need is other women around them that have, like, say if we all strong-minded women, we're all go-getters, but someone gotta be the grounded earth sign, someone that's really like aggressively going to get it. I'm a creative, so I'm always gonna have the great marketing ideas. I'm always gonna have the great content ideas. I'm always gonna have somebody I can pick up my phone to call and get it done without you having to do it yourself. But sometimes I'm unrealistic because I'm such an air sign.
Right.
Right.
Well, I've been in charge of men. Like my company work with a lot of men. So as a woman, you have to have a certain way of running the show without emasculating the men that work for you, so that they can perform at their best. And that is how you learn how to communicate and communicate without judgment. So like when you start talking about what do I think is right or wrong for this, I always try to look at, one thing I hate is being lumped into a category. When, you ever have a conversation with a guy and y'all talking about men and women, be like, when y'all don't y'all me. Don't y'all me. So this is why, but I take that into every category.
Yeah.
I don't group things together.
Okay.
This small factor, this small thing could change the way everything goes. Like if something's off just 0.001 of a degree, you're going to end up in a whole different spot. So every little detail matters. So when I talk about income or relationships, or I have to take the details into perspective. Otherwise, my answer is just general, and it may not apply to you, you know?
You know what's so funny? You come off very aggressive, but I look at you and I'm like, you're really actually a very feminine woman. Do you consider yourself feminine?
I've been working on it.
I feel like you have the morale. I feel like you have the core pieces. Femininity is more than just wanting to wear a dress all the time and stilettos, you know? But when I listen to like your etiquette, I think that that's an aspect of femininity that a lot of women neglect. Like you say, I don't emasculate men. Feminine women do not emasculate men. You don't talk down at men. You empower them to be men, you know? And I think that what is your idea of femininity for you to feel like you're working on it? Like, what do you feel like you're lacking as far as the feminine traits that you think?
I maybe, you know, I do definitely embrace my feminine and masculine sides. It's very important. I think it's important for men to do the same, because that's how you get out of touch with people when you're too one-sided, you know? But when I say that, it's because I've been known to not be very emotional, or my friends say it, but I'm very pragmatic. I'm very, okay, I'm not living over there. That happened already. What are we doing now?
Period.
You know, and sometimes females have a tendency to want to bask in the past, talk about it a lot, be in that space, and I really don't have a lot of patience for that. So
it's almost like dreamland, la la land.
And I just don't have the patience for that. So I'm trying to be a little bit more like
soft.
Yeah, let me listen, but it's just really a waste of time to me, because that time that I'm listening to that, I could be moving on to the resolution.
Yeah, you know,
yeah. Okay, I lost my job. I can't believe it, and they were racist in there, and they didn't give me as many hours. Okay, we know all of that.
But what you looking at
how
now?
are we moving forward? That already happened. So what are we doing next? And it's like, it's important to vent. I get it, but I feel like the time that I'm listening to you say all of that, if it's not details to help me curate the next step, then I'm wasting time. You know, so that comes off sometimes as being cold, or they be like, "Oh, that's like."
No, I'm kind of like that too.
You know?
I'm actually, I think that that's so good that you're like that, and you're saying that you're like that, and you're saying why you're like that. I think so many people are just insecure, and they're not naturally go-getters.
Right.
And I think that someone like of your caliber is intimidating because you give tunnel vision vibes.
Right.
And because most people are like, but you're like, you know what I'm saying? So I think that that's really good. But let me ask you a question. What happened to Aisha and Juana chasing the bag show?
Oh.
What happened?
Well, it's not a show. It wasn't a show.
It was a show to me.
It wasn't a show.
What happened?
Nothing happened. You know, we're together every day, all day.
So like y'all got tired of wearing gray t-shirts. Like what happened?
I know. We really we just got so much going on. And we really just need to document what we are doing.
You need to, you know? Because I'm not gonna hold you. So if you all don't know, y'all gotta go to Aisha Hall's YouTube channel. Please subscribe to her channel. I didn't like the numbers I saw over there because she has good content. And I'm gonna get on you about your YouTube later, because you guys that's a problem. You guys were literally in the kitchen making gel meals, and you see guys do that, but not often do you see girls literally. It was good. It was funny. It was funny. Like, see, y'all had the bag of chips. Y'all had the good cheese.
We're gonna do it.
Like, I want to come for a taste test. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me see if I can survive. Because sometimes I need to be reminded why my temper got to stay down here. Because I might not be built for those prison meals. So it might be over for a prison meal. Okay, yes, deal?
Yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. You just motivated us all over again.
Yes, you got to do it. You got to do it. Content is king. And I feel like, and that leads me to my big question. Where is music on a list of priorities for you? Because your single that's out right now, you haven't really dropped anything since you dropped the video, and we live in a time period where people are dropping music every other week.
I just dropped the album the other day.
How? I just went to my title and I did not see it.
It's not there.
Okay.
So it's
and YouTube is not there.
It's not going to be on any of those places.
Okay, so tell me more.
So I dropped it, and it is only available through me.
Oh, so your personal website.
Yes. So
I know that's right.
Yeah, so, I went and looked the other day, and I saw Run It Up, what I've been pushing.
Run It Up.
150,000 streams, right? And I mean, maybe, I don't even know, $80, some dumb number. I'm like, what am I doing? If I had $1 off of every stream, that would have been 150,000. So how about I release my music myself, and I keep all the profit, and that's what I did. So I dropped on my birthday. I dropped an album. It's called Nonfiction. You can only get it on my website, and it's been selling. And I've made more than I've ever made in music combined so far. In a
I like
days.
that.
So I'm right now, I'll stream again, but this project I wanted to see, because. So
you'll drop like maybe singles here and there on streaming services, but never a full project.
Right. So like Run It Up is streamable, but the album that Run It Up is on, you have to get it from me,
I like that. I did that with the Ramadan album, actually. I leaked it a week early on my website exclusively, but I always feel like, what about like places like Amazon? Because if you put it on Amazon, people can download it and pay the full price on there as well. Would you put your album on Amazon?
Any platform like that, I will do.
Okay.
Any platform where
Amazon Music.
The artist is going to be the main beneficiary of their art, I'm down with it. This old school way of like these companies making all of this money and artists are not benefiting.
Yeah.
It's like, for me, I don't know. I'm too much of an entrepreneur because I sell books. What is the difference between my book and my music?
It
takes the same amount of time to read, a short story or whatever, to listen to my album. What is the difference? It's still my art. Why is one art so much less valuable than the other? I just think it's
so.
I'm trying to change the tone of things.
I get that, but on the era of virality, if you will, going viral on TikTok. Unfortunately, you can't really go viral on TikTok if your music is not available on TikTok. Unfortunately, you can't hit the charts if your music. Unless you're radio, that's why. Like, unless you got crazy radio spins, unless you have like astronomical support, really radio. That'd be the only other way. Is either like all the DJs are your friends, all of the internet radios, everybody is your friend, and they're playing your music. It's like, how could you ever really make an impact? Because right now, when these lists come out for New York rappers and artists doing things and really making moves and stuff like that, do you ever get stung when your name is left off a certain list?
Sometimes, but I'm learning now. Like, I watched like what's his name, Russell out of LA.
La Russell, yes.
Yeah, like these are.
Is it supposed to be LA Russell?
Is it LA Russell?
I thought it was La Russell.
It's La Russell.
Let me call it for it. Is it? What is it? It's La Russell. Okay.
Like, that's exactly the same kind of thing that I'm doing. I don't think that it's any different. Now, you're just building up your brand. And every time I do a show and I get, 50 people come out, 100 people come out, it's going to grow. But if I'm growing it and I'm able to also profit from that, I'm fine with that. I don't have to be, the biggest rapper in the world. As long as I'm making an impact, as long as people respect me, as long as I can walk in the room, who's walking in that room, and as long as I'm getting that bag, that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day.
The bottom line.
The bag is way more important to me than the fame. The bag is everything, because that's how you take care of yourself, your family. That's how you keep, life together. So I'm more interested in the bag than anything else, and the respect. I get a lot of respect.
Yes,
a lot.
I think that we all respect you, right? I think that there's just a lot of girls, because I feel like I'm in the middle, right? I hang out with, a lot of girls that's moving right now, and then I also like have a lot of older women who kind of like, talk to me, and I notice that you kind of sit right in the middle of like being loved and respected by both. And I think it's not only because of the music, it's because you have a story, and your story is so consistent. It's not about whose room you're in. It's not about what platform you're on. Your story is consistent. So with that being said, what do you think about beef in the like rap game right now? Because like that's something that you always have stayed clear of, and you're a strong personality. So how would you like handle something like that? Like any type of rap beefs, would you go toe to toe, bar for bar with somebody?
100% I would.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So is it Cardi? What do you think about the Cardi and Nicki Minaj beef?
I used to really be a huge fan of Nicki, really huge. But I'm a very judgmental person about rats and all of that. So when she did the song with 6ix9ine,
I'm not gonna lie,
changed my whole perspective. I really fell back, because I'm like, you know, that just changed the way that I viewed her. Because I'm like, I don't care if somebody came to me with $100 million. You can't pay me to do a song with somebody like that under no circumstances.
Right.
I want to be able to sleep at night. You know?
I'm not going to hold you. I didn't stream that song not one time. In fact, if it was on the radio, I changed the station.
Yeah,
I was like, I did not mess with 6ix9ine at all. And let me tell you what was so crazy. Remember when Kodak Black dropped the song? He did, he got paid $1 million cash to do the song with 6ix9ine, and he dissed him on the same song, and he was like, I got a rat giving me cheese, something like, you know, can't mix the business with the, something like that. So what about people like that? When Kodak did the song with 6ix9ine and spoke about, pretty much talked smack about him on the song, like he paid him $1 million cash to do.
I think that, you know, I think that was smart, but I also think that it's something I wouldn't do. Like I can look at things and say, oh, that's cool, and still not want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? Like it was creative. It was a way to kind of get the bag and still kind of try to stay in the over there. You know, it was cool, but it's not something that I would do. I'm just steering clear altogether. I don't want to be associated. If I'm aware. Now, you know, I might be with somebody every day and I don't know, and they could be a rat. I don't know. I'm not aware. But if I'm aware of it, then I'm staying clear of it. You know, there's really, that's one main person in the industry that I wouldn't deal with. And then, you know, I'm vocal about it. Like I wouldn't do a song with like a Rick Ross because I know he worked with the
He was a
police before.
CEO or something.
I did so much time. Some people would be like, oh, because people come to me all the time and they say stuff to me like, you should be careful. This is why I believe in releasing my own music and doing my own thing. Because I really don't need the validity from anybody. I say what I want when I want. That's how I feel. I did a lot of time. I saw a lot of nasty stuff. And I feel like the street stuff is reserved for the people that really had to do certain things. And then if you're on the other side, I have no problem with you, but just stay on the other side. You know, I just don't like fraudism, if that's a word.
Do you think that Nicki is a fraud because she did a song with 6ix9ine?
I don't think that she's a fraud. I just think that, you know, I didn't like it. It was distasteful and it was corny.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying she's a fraud. I don't know her.
Right.
But that, publicly like that, to me was just kind of corny. It was just like, okay.
Did it change your perspective on a Nicki Minaj Cardi B beef?
I like Cardi.
I mean,
I think Cardi's the bomb.
I feel like all of New York should, but
you know, I love Cardi. You know, and it's not just about the rap. Like when I look at an artist, it's like there's an energy that comes with the artist. Yeah. And I have to like the whole energy. If I don't like the energy, you know, you could be a dope rapper, but if I don't like the energy, I don't like the energy. I like Cardi's energy. I think Cardi is dope. I think that she is one of the realest female rappers to ever do it.
Period.
Yes.
Yes,
I love
agree.
How she just, you know, you don't have to fake, you don't have to rehearse that. You know what
right.
I mean? So
I agree.
If I had to pick a female rapper that I would do some music with, I would definitely do a song with Cardi. Definitely.
Yeah.
You know, if I had to say like out of Nicki, Cardi, or whoever you want to name. I gotta
see. I always felt like someone like you. I felt would do really good to do something with Kaya Baby because I feel like y'all both real bars heavy.
I love Kaya.
I don't know. I don't understand why that link up never happened.
You know what's crazy? I sent her a record, and she told somebody recently, like, I sent Aisha a record, and I didn't get it, so I have to call her. I'm glad you remember.
Yeah, because like, what's up?
Kaya's that's my dog, and she's been rocking with me since I came home.
I just would never understand why that didn't happen. Like, New York, y'all both from New York. Y'all both from, you know, that side of the bridge, you know, Queens, Long Island,
yes,
you know.
Yes, that's my sis. Shout out to her. I love her to death.
Yeah.
Also, you know, Remy, you know.
Remy is a monster. Reps MVP, the star of the roster. Yes, I'm a huge Remy fan.
Yes, that's my girl. Uh-huh. And we talked about it briefly, like, you know, because I don't know any other female that has done as much time that's known out there as me or, you know, Rem, you know, because she did a lot of time.
Why is Little Kim always left out of the conversation of girls who got locked up and did time?
Well, that's why I said did a lot of time.
Okay.
Because Lauren did time. You know, there's people who did some time because Lauren was in the feds.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Lauren was in the feds at Danbury. Mm-hmm.
For how long? I didn't even know that.
Not that long.
But yeah, I always feel like
a lot of time.
Because I feel like it's even like your true crime story and all of that stuff. Okay, was narrated by Remy, rightfully so, because she was the most known rapper who did a bit, female rapper, should I say. But I always feel like people neglect to include Lil' Kim in that conversation.
And Foxy did time.
And Foxy, but you know what I'm saying? I'm a big bzz. So we talking about Lil' Kim right now. No shade to Foxy, but I always wonder, like, why do you think Lil' Kim is never? And Lil' Kim is another one who stayed solid, did not rat. You know, her album was the only female rapper who got 5 mics from the source. After her not ratting, made a whole album, and it was fire. I know I could probably quote bars from every song from that album. I haven't heard it in years, but I always wonder, why do you think she's left out of the conversation? She's never included in any.
I never really heard any conversation about jail stuff. I've never heard any female other than about Remy. I don't even think that those conversations are really happening outside. Like, I do a lot of interviews. You know, I've been on all the radio stations.
You have.
I talk about this a lot, but I have never seen a female like talking about. Even when I spoke to like Rem about it, like she's like, you know, that's not all I am. So she'd be tired of that. You know
nobody want to talk about that all the time. You always want to make me this aggressive criminal, and I'm not. Right. Even though I still will slap a chick. Right. I'm sorry, I'm trying to embody my inner Remy.
Yeah, inner Remy. And I get compared to her more than any other female rapper in the game. Like, everybody. The voice, and it's so funny because I tell her, I'm like, look, sis, I got compared to you again. It's just, I'm always getting compared to her, which I think is dope because, you know, our vocal tones are similar.
Yeah. I don't know, but that's cool. I like the fact that, you know, you have good relationships with female rappers of the caliber of a Remy Ma, because I feel like a lot of times when rappers start getting up here and they have artists still on the struggle rap side, I feel like they tend to keep them on the struggle rap side and not elevate them, which reminds me of something else you actually said in one of your interviews, saying that, hold on, it was actually a big thing. I wrote it down.
Something I said?
Yes, you said to me, well, not to me, but you was talking to me at that moment. You said, oh, it's not fun being around people broke. That stuck out to me because it reminds me of how, no shade, but if you look at people in Favi's camp, a lot of them rap, but the only way they getting any shine is when they talking about Favi. Same thing with Meek's camp. If it ain't about really Meek, nobody's really blowing up out of those camps. It's no longer like how the Saint Lunatics was when Nelly blew up, then Murphy Lee came out with his album. You know, like, it's not like that no more. But you said it's not fun being around people broke. And you fed like your whole team. Not to bring that up again. You fed your whole team.
It's cool. Always bring that up. I'm proud of that. You know, that's something that I'm gonna always talk about. You know, everybody has their bragging moments. Me making sure that the people around me are good is a big deal for me. It's probably, you know, my biggest contribution to life is making sure that the people around me are good. You know, making sure the people around me are good.
I like that. So let everybody know where they can find you.
Okay, well, you know, my biggest presence is on Instagram. So you can find me at The Real Aisha Hall on Instagram.
Okay.
You can also YouTube me. Just put Aisha Hall music, Aisha Hall interviews. Because she's going to
start posting there more, okay?
I'm going to start posting more. You can find me anywhere, just Aisha Hall. I'm very, very accessible online. So you can find me wherever. Oh, and my new album, Nonfiction, you can go to my Instagram page and put in, go to the link in the bio, or you could just go to AishaHallMusic.com.
Okay.
Real easy. AishaHallMusic.com.
And
get that new album. Got my books. Go to Amazon, put in Aisha Hall books. You know, I have like 13 books on Amazon. You can buy any of those books.
Yeah.
What else do I have? You know, go watch the show. Go watch My True Crime Story on
BET
VH1.
Plus.
Or go watch American Gangster on BET.
Yes.
And I'm working with Marquand Smith.
Okay.
He created Godfather of Harlem.
Okay.
The dopest show, one of the dopest shows on TV.
Period.
And we're working on putting together, like, basically my life story, you know, as a series.
All right, y'all are watching Witnessed by Lish with Lish 2 times. I had an Aisha Hall today. You already know the vibes. We are here. FUBURADIO, powered by U42. Okay? Peace.